Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today, as it's going to be negativeZero, one of the top Protoss bots, if not the top Protoss bot, taking on Ketroc, a recently returned Terran bot that may have some tricks up its sleeves, or just has some very large sleeves in general, as it may be trying to fit a battle cruiser up there. And so we're going to see how negativeZero can do against Ketroc. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this one, for starters, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and click that subscribe button. A lot of people, including myself on YouTube these days, don't actually subscribe. I just watch recommended for the most part. And so, yeah, click that sub button if you haven't already. Leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot matches. And then, yeah, click that like button too. If we can hit, I don't know, 2 likes on this video, me and someone else, that would be amazing. And yeah, we have got negativeZero going in for a quick scout, checking out Ketroc's base. Now, Ketroc did say Battlecruiser Rush, however it does have an expansion on the way, so maybe not the rushiest of rushes, but Terrans generally are limited by gas, which you can't really speed mine too effectively in StarCraft 2. So maybe, so it is understandable to go for an expansion with a Battlecruiser Rush, even if you're trying to rush. You have the minerals for the expansion, is what I'm trying to say. Poorly, but and so, yeah, negativeZero. We did have Ketroc saying win rates BC Rush 0-5. Now, I don't know if that's 0-5 for Ketroc or 0-5 for negativeZero, but we're going to find out. I may have skewed those metrics. I'm not sure. I did request some matches so I could get a bit of a bigger sample size on how Ketroc and negativeZero play against each other. So I had them play 5 matches, which is something you can do if you support sc2ai.net, by the way. Big shout out. Very helpful to me as a commentator, as lets me say, hey, these bots played a match that was only 5 minutes long. Maybe they play some longer matches over a bigger sample size. That kind of thing. And so I did request 5 matches, but I believe I requested them on a map in which negativeZero was non-functional, so it just sat there. And so I don't know if that skewed things or not. Anyway, we do have the Protoss bot going for some early aggression with a proxy gateway. So 3 gate pressure, double nexus though, just making lots of adepts and sending them over to Ketroc's side of the map, and this could be effective as that bunker is quite far forward for Ketroc. It does not have a wall up just yet. An adept does go to shade on in, however cancels the shade as it wasn't far enough forward. Looks like the adepts are coalescing next to this gateway as negativeZero already has that warp gate done. Starts warping in more adepts, so a very interesting opening by the Protoss bot, letting us know that it's a little bit ahead of schedule. Not sure what the conditions for that are, but it's got 6 adepts, 3.5 minutes into the game. However, the depot does get raised, which does force the adepts to go around. They do complete the shade, so Ketroc's bot could be in a bit of trouble. Notably, there is no wall on that high ground. Marines are popping out of those bunkers, looking to micro against the adepts, but they're shading all over the place. That could mess with the pathing. SCVs are running everywhere in a panic. So far, no adepts inside the main mineral line, which is very, very important. Marines are skirmishing with the adepts, eating some shots, but doing an okay job chasing them down. So far, 3 of those adepts have died versus 6 SCVs, 2 Marines. Ketroc is pumping out more Marines, but now the mining inside the main base is getting disrupted. The adepts for negativeZero programmed to utilize that shade seemingly all the time. SCVs are trying to avoid the adepts, trying to heal his friend, but he got shot down right in front of him. The Marines are constantly trying to chase this. Now, it is important for us to watch. Ketroc's bot does have a fusion core just about done, so there is battlecruiser potential in the future. The adepts, though, are still really causing problems for Ketroc, as their harassment has gone from a bit of damage to prolonged damage. Like, mining has been massively disrupted for the blue bot. It may finally be cleaning up all these adepts. However, negativeZero is now transitioning into stalker pressure, so some SCVs may need to be pulled off the line to help heal that bunker. And are the Marines going to make it inside? They will, but it's not going to be repaired in time. And so Ketroc is in a world of trouble. No battle cruiser was ever started. -0 is just lethal as always as these stalkers path on in. All the Marines get gobbled up. And it looks like Ketroc was close to holding that off, but the adepts just bought so much time. And then there was never a battle cruiser started. Not even sure if it would have been enough if one did get out. It does seem that -0 is going to take this match, shutting down the battle cruiser rush by striking early. That's definitely one of the best ways to deal with a rush like that. Yeah, I'm not sure what Ketroc could have done a little better, maybe putting the bunker further back. I don't know, scouting to have some reaction to such a proxy. It's tough to say, or making something out of the factory, like a mine, a cyclone, a tank, that kind of thing would have helped out. But now's a great part for me to reveal that this is indeed a multi-part video of Ketroc. So we're going to be having Ketroc versus Xena. Don't go anywhere. I'll just fast forward to the end of this one. And it is important to watch shorter bot matches. Ketroc saying, "What are you doing in my swamp? Why am I dead?" basically. And that is going to be our segue into the next match. Okay, so here we are. It's going to be Xena taking on Ketroc in a TVT. More importantly, a bot versus bot match. We have got both of these bots letting us know their win rates at the start of the match, although that's a lot of information being printed. And so, a TVT between the chaotic random bot, which is always chaotic and random, versus Ketroc, which has recently been getting some updates, so it's going to be exciting to see how Xena handles Ketroc in the TVT matchup. Let's see what it said. Bio attack supply. Yeah, letting us know some of the win rates there. So I think Xena's going to be playing bio this match, as Ketroc is just going for one base Banshee Cyclone, which can be a very strong build, as these two Terrans go at it on Automaton. The AI edition, of course. It's kind of funny. I was thinking about it before casting this match. It's like, I gotta kind of sneak in the Xena matches, in the sense that, like, not every Xena match is super long, so they're very good to put on the end of shorter videos so multi-part videos. But it's just sort of funny. Doing just like a Xena match is generally quite rare, as they are generally shorter, cheesier matches. And we'll see if that's the case or not this match. This match, Xena is actually playing quite macro-focused compared to its opponent, although it does throw up an extra racks. So 2 racks bio with a CC on the way behind this. Ketroc is getting up a bunker on the low ground. It's just a single Marine produced for each side so far. Ketroc says, "Hey, I'm playing versus Terran." Notably, the blue bot didn't scout, so maybe not thinking that it's super important what race it's up against, or at least when it comes to do with the initial build. But it is cool to see that it's printing that information. And then we've got a factory on the way for Ketroc, a second factory as well, so gonna be potentially going very heavy into that Cyclone style. We'll have to wait and see. Meanwhile, Xena is just getting up its second rack, second command center. Gonna have a little bit of an economic lead. Well, a fairly significant economic lead. Ketroc's bot has built that bunker on the low ground, but it is taking its time before it actually builds that CC. Now, bots can get away more so than humans with this speed mining, because they have a bit of a higher income off of one base, so then they can invest in a little bit more tech while also getting that expansion down. But Ketroc is still delaying this quite a bit, just going for a tank, and we'll see what the other factory is going to get utilized for, whether we see a starport going up sometime soon, as we do have a tank and a Widow Mine, so a very defensive play, it seems, from the Terran bot. Ketroc playing the slow, safe expansion style against Xena in this match. Meanwhile, Xena is just doing its thing, pumping out Marines. I was wondering if we were just going to be seeing that mass Marine shenanigans that Xena sometimes goes for. If that's the case, I assume we'll be seeing, well, maybe a couple more racks and probably a third command center sometime soon, as we do see Another a Cyclone going up for Ketroc and eBay on the way, and eBay so it can potentially build a planetary fortress if it wishes to. Not that it always does or needs to when it's got this bunker and the tank. Notably, the bunker and the tank are quite a ways away from each other, so there is potential that the tank may not be able to actually help defend the bunker. We'll see if that's a factor or not. Behind this, though, no super quick third base from Xena. It is just going into a factory behind this, so there is potential for bio-medivac play, which would be very exciting. Meanwhile, Ketroc's bot is getting up those turrets that it likes to go for. A very effective catch-all when it comes to dealing with that air defense, splitting those up, so that investment is probably one of the more efficient things about Ketroc, in that you don't really got to worry about dealing with Banshee harassment or any sort of air harassment when you've got a simple 2 turrets building in your main base every time. It's a really, really effective response when it comes to 99% of the harassment. So just as a resource standpoint, as a programmer, having to spend less time on trying to program defensive mechanics when 2 turrets will get the job done. It's very good to see. Now I'm excited to see how this match is going to go, as Xena is just pumping out lots and lots of bio, getting out +1 stim pack on the way. A starport is just about done. We'll see if it's going to build a tech or a reactor. However, no reactor has built, so just using that starport to produce a single medivac. For starters, Ketroc does have that natural orbital done, so catching up in the economy, albeit fairly slowly. Xena is building a very cool ring around its base with the supply depots. That's one way to ensure perfect vision. The Terran bot is now going, or the red Terran bot, the bio bot I'll say, is going for a scout with a couple of Marines to see what Ketroc has. However, if we are just going to be seeing an attack towards the front of Ketroc, I think Xena may have a bit of a tough time pulling that off. The Terran bot does have its 2 tanks, well, 2 of its tanks just kind of freaking out at the front. Not sieged up. We'll see if they siege up as soon as potential harassment shows up. Ketroc is going for a Banshee. We have a scan from Xena. Cool to see that a random bot is actually programmed to utilize scans potentially effectively, and that Widowmine does get revealed. Meanwhile, Xena, though, is really just going up to a ridiculous amount of bio supply. +1, just about done, about 30 seconds from completion, and then Combat Shield not too far behind it, so it could just be a massive bio stim in from Xena. And Ketroc is going for a bit more harassment-focused play, not necessarily just looking for a big fight, as this Banshee could be very, very effective, as I'm not sure about Xena's chops when it comes to defending something against a Banshee. The bot author of Xena definitely takes the approach of, if I'm being aggressive, I don't have to worry about being defensive. And it works out quite well for the most part. So we do see +1 about to finish up for Xena. I'm not sure what requirements it's waiting for in regards to moving out for an attack. And let's see, we got +2 on the way, +1 armor on the way, so maybe Xena isn't planning on moving out till it's at like 200 supply, who knows? 1 medivac at a time slowly being produced. Just Terran bio being produced off of 4 racks. 2 bases. Ketroc does have a 3rd command center on the way up. If this is a planetary, that will definitely help it when it comes to defending this bio, but the fact that Ketroc has moved out could make it a little bit vulnerable. 2 of these tanks aren't sieged, and they are all going to need to be sieged in order to deal with this bio. Xena is attacking the main with 76 supply. A scan goes down, actually chasing away the Banshee of Ketroc as Xena takes its own 3rd base. Looks like this bio will be pathing forward into the 3rd base, which is not yet a planetary. 3 of the tanks are sieged. There's the next one sieging. Ketroc immediately drops a turret to help buffer for this. Xena is stimming on in, getting on top of all the tanks and just melting them. The Cyclones lock on and retreat, but that base is not going to live very long as it's forced to lift off. The bunker is holding for now. We need to see so many SCVs pull to defend this, but that's not happening. Ketroc has got no more siege tanks producing. The Vikings are doing what they can in the skies, but man, oh man, Xena's massive bio stim-in seemed pretty effective, and it just goes to show that a few tanks are not enough to stop, like, 100 supply of Terran bio. I mean, Xena lost 27 Marines in there, but it killed 4 tanks. One of those tanks wasn't sieged before the fight, but I'm not even sure if that would make a difference. And so I do think Xena is going to take this one quick and dirty with the Terran bio Ketroc. I'm not sure what it needs to change up there, just, I don't know, whether it needs to make that base a planetary quicker or something like that. Or maybe just put the tanks a little bit further back as far as positioning is concerned. Yeah, really well done by Xena. Sweet and simple, able to take the game. Does have a bit of a macro follow-up, taking lots of bases. Not that it will need to. Ketroc's trying to get up a third or another base, but it's not going to happen. So, well done by Xena, investing heavily into ground, whereas Ketroc was doing things like making anti-air. Those 8 Vikings, if they were tanks, that would have helped out. But again, that's the difficulty when you program a defensive bot. It's not easy to have a perfectly well-rounded composition that catches everything. And so Xena able to take this one. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this match, click that like button. If you haven't already, leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot matches. Particularly if you enjoy the cheesy ones, let me know in the comments down below. And then, yeah, subscribe if you are not already subscribed, as that is a quick elimination too. Xena destroys all those buildings really quickly, unsurprisingly, with +2 attack on so many Marines and Marauders. GG.